Picture this. Early morning. The flea market is just waking up. You can smell fresh pastries, the sea, old metal, and this feeling. You can't explain it to someone who's never searched for treasure in piles of junk. Because you don't come here just to look around. You come here to hunt. That's exactly why I love flea markets more than stores. No guarantees, no fancy displays, no certainty you'll find anything real at all. But somehow, this is where impossible things show up. Today I came here with cash, patience, and a huge hope to find something special. And trust me, this turned into one of the strangest days I've had in a long time. At first, everything felt normal. Fake after fake after fake. Fake Casio edifice. Fake Rolex. And honestly, that's the most annoying part of flea markets. You waste hours digging through garbage. But if you keep digging long enough, sometimes the market rewards you. And then, first real find of the day, Sector Switzerland. The second I picked it up, I knew it was original. Yeah, quartz. Yeah, rough condition. But watches like this, after restoration, they become beautiful. Paid $15 for it. And now I want to ask you, would you wear a quartz Sector? Or do only mechanical watches have soul to you? Then, more endless boxes full of junk. And by the way, I once found an Omega movement inside a box exactly like this. That's why I never get lazy digging, because the best stuff is almost never sitting on top. Then I spotted an Orient with this beautiful fluted bezel. And honestly, that one hurt, because the watch had potential, but the bezel was completely destroyed. And the worst part? The bezel is part of the case, meaning restoration basically makes no sense. That's another painful part of collecting. Sometimes you have to leave behind good watches because you realize they're beyond saving. But just a few minutes later, I found another Orient. And now, things got interesting. Foggy crystal, tired case, but stainless steel, which means it still has potential. Polish it, replace the crystal, and suddenly the watch becomes something completely different. Paid $20 for it. And now tell me, would you restore it factory original or go full custom? Then, Seiko Galaxy, the famous checkerboard dial. And honestly, at first I thought it was fake, because modern watches just don't look like this anymore. Too bold, too weird. But that's exactly why vintage Seiko is so loved now. The gold plating is tired, but for $8, still an insane find. And now I need your opinion. Restore the gold plating, or strip it completely and go full steel look. Then, a vintage Casio. And these are the finds I love the most. Because this watch looked like it survived 3 different lives. Destroyed case, worn bezel. But somehow, that's exactly what gave it character. You could tell, this watch was actually worn. Not kept in a box for Instagram photos. Someone lived with it. I bought it as non-working. But deep inside, there was still hope. What if it comes back to life? And honestly, hope is the most dangerous emotion for collectors. Then suddenly, between old clothes, I spotted a gold Seiko automatic. And that's the moment your heartbeat speeds up. Because years ago, people saved money for months to buy watches like this. These weren't just watches, they were status, pride, and now they're lying between old jackets at a flea market. That's when you realize how fast time turns luxury into ordinary objects. But then, something happened that completely changed my day. I was digging through junk and suddenly saw them. Rado. At first, I didn't even believe it. I thought, no way, another cheap fake. But the second I held them, my hands literally started shaking because they were real, original Rado. And instantly, panic kicked in. Rule number 1 at flea markets: never show emotion to the seller, especially when you realize you're holding a watch worth over $1,000. The seller told me they didn't work, but I moved the rotor and the seconds hand came alive. That's when I knew I had to buy them. $148. And honestly, one of the most stressful purchases I've made in a long time. Because instantly your brain starts fighting itself. What if something's broken? What if the movement is dead? What if I'm wrong? But that is why I love flea markets. That adrenaline. So tell me honestly, would you risk spending that kind of money at a flea market? Or would you be too scared? Then, this insanely beautiful citizen quartz. Super clean dial, almost perfect crystal. This is exactly how Japanese brands used to design watches. Simple, clean, but full of character. Paid $20. Then, a Commandeersky watch with a vehicle on the dial. And now I'm curious, who knows what vehicle this is? Write it in the comments. Then, Festina. Big, heavy, very masculine watch. And I could already picture it. Fresh, thick crystal, full polish. That's what makes collecting dangerous. You stop seeing watches for what they are. You start seeing what they could become. Then I found 2 Orient watches. Beautiful, but way too expensive. $55 each, plus repair costs. Sometimes the best profit comes from the watches you don't buy. And then came the moment I definitely won't forget. Among random stuff, I found a Candino Switzerland with an engraved dedication. And suddenly the whole mood changed. Because you realize, at some point, this watch meant something to someone. It was part of their life. And now it's sitting here for $10. And that instantly reminded me of an old artist I know who hand paints watch dials. He's 74 years old now and almost stopped doing it. But then I thought, what if I gave this watch a second life? A completely custom art dial? Yeah, it would cost money. But some watches deserve a second chance. So tell me, keep the engraving or go full custom art dial? Then, the weirdest moment of the day. A guy was selling dollar bills for 5 cents each. Honestly, best exchange rate I've ever seen. But then something happened that completely changed the atmosphere of the day. I noticed an old stopwatch. Usually I ignore things like that. But this one had a marking. First State Watch Factory named after Kirov. And instantly, something clicked in my head. I opened the back, and immediately I thought, this thing could have been in World War II. I started talking to the seller, an old woman. and she told me the stopwatch belonged to her father. He was a tank driver during World War II, and this stopwatch went through the war with him. I asked her why she was selling it, and her answer honestly hit me hard. I just need money. She wanted $20 for it. I gave her $50 and told her this stopwatch would get a second life. And the craziest part? It still works, almost 80 years later. Then, a Soviet Luch for $5. Perfect candidate for an art dial. Then, a watch I had never seen before in 14 years of collecting. Slava Asymmetry, $7. One side of the case bigger than the other. Completely insane design. And honestly, those are the watches I love most. Weird, rare, confusing. Because perfect things get forgotten. Weird things stay in your head forever. So now tell me, chrome or gold plating for this case? Then, Vostok Pobeda, $5 each. Then I found a women's Orient automatic with a broken bracelet for $6 and a women's Citizen for $8. And that's how the day ended. But honestly, after that stopwatch, I couldn't stop thinking about it. So tell me in the comments, which find hit you the hardest? And what do you think? Should things like this stay in families forever, or do collectors give them a second life? I read every comment. And don't forget, on June 8th, one of the most active subscribers will win a watch from my personal collection. So comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next hunt.